In today's show, a couple of trades we're going to talk about. One that just went down not that long ago. Michael Bolton.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy Basketball, your daily fantasy basketball podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd and I am the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com and at Yahoo Sports Australia. And you can find me on Twitter, as always, at redrock_Beeble and on Instagram at Locked On Fantasy Basketball. Locked On is partnering with Arcade 1UP to give away 3 free NBA JAM Shaq machines. Stay tuned later in the show to learn how to enter. Thank you also for making Locked On Fantasy Basketball your first listen every day. We are free and available on all platforms. Now, normally this would have been the show today was my final mock draft / multiple 2-in-1, 3-in-1 mock draft that I was going to do. I am still going to do it, but thought I'd throw out just quickly a quick reaction to the trade that went down. A reminder, Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern, live NBA draft show on my YouTube channel, so go check that out. But a couple of trades went down over the last week, but again, one today in the last 30 minutes or so. So, Warnie.
Let's get it on, Gilly.
All right, there it is. Jerami Grant gone to Portland. We've been hearing about Jerami Grant to Portland for, ages. Such a long time since the trade deadline. Jerami Grant's career is a weird one, isn't it? Second round pick to the Sixers. Didn't really do much there. Really defensive ability. Ended up in Denver. Blossomed into a really strong defender. Decided he'd rather get more usage in Detroit on the same contract that he was going to get in Denver, so he could go to a bad team and get lots of shots and be really inefficient, and in the process got highly overrated by a bunch of fans. And now he goes to Portland, where he won't be that number one option, probably not the number two option, and has to slide back into being a wing defender sort of a player. I don't know. And then he wants another $20 million a year contract, and maybe he's worth that. Maybe fours who can defend at that level are worth that contract. That might be absolutely true. But how is he going to fit in? How is he going to feel about what is going to happen in terms of his usage? Because he's not going to be the number one guy pretty clearly, right? It's Lloyd, it's Simons. We'll talk about the Detroit side of things here in a second. But it's just been very interesting to see the change or the way that his career has gone and the different valuations that Jerami Grant has seemed to have on himself or teams have seemed to have on him. Now, this season, Grant played 32 minutes a night. He averaged 19, 4, and 2. Steal, a block, 43 and 84 on 26 usage. Well, I reckon that 26 usage, kiss that goodbye. That's down to 20, 21 at least. He's never been the biggest steals and blocks guy. He's always been a poor rebounder. The shooting should be able to improve. The 43% from the field and he 36% from three. Well, maybe that's about right. So, 66th ranked player this last season in fantasy, Jerami Grant was. I think if you're reaching into the 6th round, you're making a huge error. 7th round, it's a big error. I don't expect, I haven't done anything yet, obviously, because draft hasn't happened and free agency hasn't happened and none of that stuff's gone down yet. I haven't looked into where he's going to be, but top 100 would feel optimistic. Haven't given the details on the trade. I'll do that now. The pick goes from, there's a lot of second round picks involved here. There's a 2025 first round pick from the Bucks, which is protected 1 to 4. So that's 3 years time. Now the Bucks, I tweeted this out and someone commented to me, "Hi, look, if the Bucks have Giannis, the pick's not going to be very good." Well, the Bucks had Giannis this year, and the pick was 24, and that's with Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday, and Brook Lopez. Now, Brook Lopez barely played, I know that, but in 3 years' time, Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton, Lopez, they're not going to be these players, not remotely close. Giannis will still be really good, but who do they get in to replace those guys? And I don't think this will be a top 10 pick. It probably won't be a lottery pick, but top 20? Probably. 24th pick this year with all those guys in 3 years' time. Top 18th pick, 17th pick, maybe. There was a change in second rounders as well. Detroit gets upgraded from 46 to 36, so they get that extra bonus there. They also get a a second-round pick in 2026 and a second-round pick in 2025. So a few seconds there. Solid second this year. Nice improvement there for them in that position. They also open up, obviously, a huge hole in the roster and big cap space. Now, Pistons fans are absolutely convinced that this means that Troy Weaver is getting DeAndre Ayton. I don't know, maxing DeAndre Ayton, and then if you have to acquire him in a sign and trade, seems like too much. Like getting Ayton in, paying him 27 or whatever it is million, and giving up assets to get the sign and trade, it feels like maybe it's a little bit too much. But we'll see what they got. They might have nothing up their sleeve. They might just be, we want to take Keegan Murray at this position, so we can run Sadiq Bey and Keegan Murray at the 3-4. They don't really have any other 3-4s on the roster, do they? Not that I can think of. So that could be something they're doing as well. As for Portland, well, they did have a huge hole on the wing at the forward spot. Now it's Grant and it's Nasir Little. Like that's realistically their combination there. So what they do, and they still have pick 7, obviously, and there was so many rumors that Jerami Grant was going to be traded for pick 7. That would have been absolute foolishness. He's not worth pick 7. So they've got Little and Grant there. Where Josh Hart fits in, I don't know. Maybe Little comes off the bench. And it's Lillard, Simons, Hart, Grant, center. Maybe Nurkic. And Little's off the bench. There's Justice Winslow still there as well, who again probably not going to be a starter though. So they're looking like at least being a playoff contending team. Not that Jerami Grant elevates you to a playoff contending team, but the return of Lillard does. Another year of development for Simons, for Little. It's mainly just Lillard being there, really though. Yeah, but for fantasy, it is going to hurt. It's going to hurt Grant. I don't think it's going to have an impact really on Lillard, but it is going to have an impact on Little. If you're thinking he was going to be a breakout guy, it's going to have somewhat of an impact on Josh Hart probably as well. Not on Simons, I wouldn't expect. I don't expect Jerami Grant coming in and being 26% usage because A, he shouldn't, and B, it didn't actually work for him. He didn't look good in that role at all. He looked actually dreadful in that role. And if he wants to get paid $20 million, he needs to go back to being Aaron Gordon. Don't do anything offensively, just do it defensively. He's better than Aaron Gordon, I think. But having him as a high usage player is not a recipe for any level of success whatsoever. So Portland, it makes more sense for him to be there in that role, doing that sort of thing. So that was that trade that went down. I'm going to talk about the other trade that went down last week, which is the Christian Wood deal. Before I do that, though, Built Bar. Coconut brownie chunk puff. Every week I do a Built Bar ad. There's a new bloody flavor these guys are bringing out. The people that invented healthy and tasty, they invented it. They got something else for your taste buds, and that is the coconut brownie chunk Built Bar. Unbelievable. And they've also done puffs as well in that same flavor. They are just absolutely dominating. Stop drooling. Start listening. They are good for you. Low calorie, low sugar, high protein, and all of them are absolutely delicious. And all Built Bars are built with collagen protein, which is very easily absorbed in your body with tons of great health benefits. The best part about Built Bars and Built Puffs, of course, is they taste amazing. You can enjoy them guilt-free because they're actually good for you. Perfect treat when you've got a craving and you need to satisfy your sweet tooth. So if you need a quick, healthy snack, they're an excellent source of protein. Go to built.com, use the promo code LOCKED15 and get 15% off your order. The promo code is LOCKED15. Built Bar is built different. Okay. The other trade that went down last week, I didn't do a separate show for this one, but I'll talk about it here. That's Christian Wood heading across from Houston to Dallas. Yes, let's start on the Houston side of things here. The delicate dancer, Alperen Şengün.
It's a delicate dance in just 17 steps.
Now, I fully expect the Rockets are picking Paolo Banchero at number 3. And I will always have this, not mindset, it's the wrong thing to say, but people go, well, they had to get rid of Wood to clear space for those guys. And in general, my response to that is, well, they could also, just not play the guy. They have that option. Just because he's there, he doesn't have to play. But with the amount of complaining and locker room cancer traits that Christian Wood has shown, getting him out of there, for even if it is a late first-round pick, is significantly superior to just telling him not to play. Because that's just sort of the bloke he is. All right, getting rid of him. So, Yes, Şengün's numbers are going to blow up. Will Şengün play 30 a night? Probably not, I don't think. I don't think his foul rate will sustain that in year 2. 27 maybe. He's a clear top 100 guy, probably top 70, maybe higher. There is the massive, massive risk of him getting overreached for, and we'll see how that all plays out when ADP happens. Paulo will come in and start next to Şengün. They'll give up 150 points per 100 possessions. No worries. There's minutes for Usman Garuba there as well as the backup. And we'll see where that leads Jae'Sean Tate. Probably not in a great spot, I'm going to be honest. And as I've said so many times, I don't think that he is a long-term piece. He's solid as an 8th man rotation player on a playoff team now, not as a 26-year-old number 2 guy on a team that's dreadful. So if they should, and again, he's not going to be able to start, I don't think. They should look to move him, I believe. Whether they do or not, I don't know, but they should look to do that. I'm not as enamored by Tate as what others are. So those players that come back from Houston, Sterling Brown, Trey Burke, Boban, Marquise Chris, none of them are going to have any impact. The Rockets have so many guys on the roster. They're bringing in 3 more first-round draft picks. There are going to be more trades, and there are going to be more cuts. There's no point analyzing all of that stuff. All we can say now is that Şengün is probably going to start, and Banchero is probably going to be next to him, and that's great for that. I think Paulo is going to be a really solid, round 8 fantasy rookie. We'll see when all that goes down. It's a long way away. As for Christian Wood going to Dallas, well, he just automatically starts there at center. Dwight Powell to the bench quite clearly. No, Dwight Powell and Christian Wood will not start together. Surely not. You could see a situation where Kleber and Wood can start together because Kleber's so versatile. But I just believe it'll be Finney-Smith, Wood, and then you've got Bullock, Brunson, Doncic, assuming Brunson returns. But there's still a lot of water to go under the bridge there. A couple of questions I was asked about Christian Wood. Does Christian Wood arriving in Dallas hurt Luka Doncic's numbers? No, absolutely not. Do Wood's numbers go up in Dallas? And I really doubt that. And the reason that people think that, again, I haven't projected any of this stuff out, but the reason that people believe that Christian Wood's numbers might go up, they go, well, he hasn't had a point guard the level of Luka Doncic setting him up. And that is true. But, usage is more important. Christian Wood was already a 50% field goal guy. He already hit 57% of his twos. Could he get to 60 there? Maybe. And be a 53 field goal guy? Probably. But the trade-off with his 23% usage probably dips to 21. It might not. The Kevin Porter, Jalen Green combo, maybe those guys' usages actually dwarf what Doncic and Brunson do. It doesn't, of course, because Doncic is 37 usage. So the 23 usage from Wood might go to 20. I think he's a solid, really, really solid fit in terms of the return that Dallas gave up. And I don't think it's actually a bad sell from Houston just to get rid of this bloke and get something back for him. So I think that Wood, who was 82nd this year, in large part, Christian Wood was 82nd because he played under 31 minutes and he shot 62% from the line. He averaged 18 and 10. 18 and 10, totally fine for him next season. 1 block could become 1.4. 50 could become 52% shooting. But 62% from the line is what kills it. All right, so I think he's going to be a solid top 70 player-ish. And that's got nothing to do with Luka feeding him. It's just I expect some improvement in free throws, maybe some efficiency improvement, and I expect a lot of the other stuff to stick. So I don't think he's going to be a giant step forward. His ADP this season was 38. I wouldn't be obviously doing that again. But the free throws, that's the real problem there, isn't it? In the past, he's been a good free throw shooter, and now he is not. And if you punted free throws with him this year, guess where he ranked? 35th. So maybe picking him in the 5th round is not bad. Or even 4th round. So I don't expect, again, still got to balance everything out. I don't expect huge changes for Christian Wood or anything with that trade. But that trade happened, so I needed to talk about it. Guys, we all know NBA Jam. We love NBA Jam. It's one of the best NBA arcade or best arcade games ever, to be honest. And now Arcade 1UP, who's the leader in at-home retro arcade games, they're not only bringing the best game ever back, but they made it bigger than ever with wait for it, a Shaq edition. I just hope that that's 7'2". I hope that the game is that big. I've got to get on a step to go up and play it. People are obsessed with NBA Jam, and I'm thrilled to tell you guys that you can once again play hoops with NBA Legends in this arcade classic. One of the first sports games ever to feature real and digitized NBA licensed teams. There's no fouls, there's no free throws, there's balls on fire, all of that stuff that you remember and love. And from arcade1up.com, that's arcade, the number one, up.com, you can pre-order for an estimated early September ship date. You also have a chance to win a free NBA JAM Shaq edition. That's for all Locked On listeners. Head to arcade1.com/lockedon. That's arcade, the number one, up.com/lockedon, and you've got until July the 8th to enter to win the NBA JAM Shaq edition console. Don't miss out today. Don't miss out, actually. Enter today. Guys, that'll do it for me today on this little mini quick show. I will be back later on today with a mock draft show, my final mock draft before we head into our live draft show tomorrow. Follow this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, and on the Odyssey app. If you're here on YouTube, you know what to do. Thumb it up. Leave your comments down below, guys. We are done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.